You about to check out Michael Knowles. He's speaking on, what's her name? Look like Ninja. Megan Malapa. Soccer player woman that say crazy stuff. We need to start giving her attention in the first place. Unless we roast it. Y'all know how I like a good roasting. Y'all know Beast Boy like a good roasting. Let's check this out, fam.
Into women's soccer, where Megan Rapinoe, you know Megan Rapinoe, she's a left-wing activist who I think coincidentally also plays soccer. Megan Rapinoe has a novel argument as to why God does not exist. And the argument comes because in Megan Rapinoe's final match of her career, she was injured, and so she didn't get to finish her match. And she said this was greatly unfair and proof that God does not exist. Before we get to Megan's argument, I have to ask, how many times is this woman going to retire from soccer? Because I saw this headline and I said, wait a second, Megan Rapinoe is still playing soccer?
That's fact. She done retired more times than James Brown. She came back more times than James Brown too. Some people gonna realize how old I am with that joke. What you want me to do?
I distinctly remember months ago reading that Megan Rapinoe had played her last match and something went wrong in that too. And she was whining about that. She was complaining about whatever happened in that game. And then I said, okay, well, she's whining and complaining and she's a very difficult woman to listen to. But hey, at least she is done with soccer and I don't need to read about her anymore and her antics and her anti-American activism. But then months later, I have to read about Megan Rapinoe again. So then I looked and I said, oh, this was her last game too. But I turns out I was right. Because I looked up, this is the same news source. This is ABC News, September 25th. What happened at Megan?
Oh. I already knew like that he was speaking facts because I remember it. But my man pulled up the receipts. Like, actually, let's check this documentation that I have right here that blatantly says it. Blatantly says it. Stop playing with me. I am not for play. That's what he said. He said he is not for play. Stop playing with that man, bro. Stop playing with that man. He's a beast.
Megan Rapinoe's final USWNT game. Team USA scored a victory against South Africa in Rapinoe's final game. September 25th, Rapinoe's final game. Then, ABC News, November 11th, Megan Rapinoe exits NWSL championship with injury in final game. How many final games is this woman going to have? Can this be the final one, please? Have we had enough, Megan Rapinoe? I certainly have.
I've definitely had enough, to answer your question. If we just gonna answer I've definitely had enough, sir. I don't think we need to even, if I'm just being honest. I'm sure she's gonna probably put a foot in her mouth somehow. It's crazy. Yeah, he printed it out. As I started laughing, like, yo, no, he didn't print out the paperwork. Actually, right here. Yo, imagine that. Imagine if I was able to, let me get a team of researchers. Let me get a team. I'm trying to start stepping up these damn live streams. Let me get a team of researchers. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. You knew what I meant. I better not be judging me. Nah, you can judge me. I don't care.
Right after she makes her argument as to why God does not exist, which we will get to right after I tell you about Beam Organics. Right now, go to Shop Beam.
Did Lady Ben, my bad. I mean, did Brett Cooper get the transition game from you? Shout outs to Michael Knowles. Y'all could check out the Beams. There's a long commercial, my G. All right, that was a long commercial. He was making sure you knew about those beans.
At long last, here is Megan Rapinoe's argument as to why God does not exist.
This is a long one, although I'm going to get the Aaron Rodgers treatment, whatever that is. So I'm going to be calling him or whoever did his surgery because we need to speed this up. But yeah, I thought about it a little bit. I mean, I'm not a religious person or anything. And if there wasn't God, like, this is proof that there isn't. This is up. So.
She said that stupid. You actually said that out loud.
Yeah. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, you nasty. You nasty fam, yeah. You know your name.
Nasty.
Yeah, it's just it's like 6 minutes in. Eat my Achilles. I mean, what the
So the argument, let's take it. So she's obviously being tongue-in-cheek here, but the argument is an argument that a lot of Reddit tier atheists make, which is because a bad thing happened to me, that's proof that God does not exist. But, this is an old problem that people have been grappling with for ever, and it's theodicy. It's the problem of pain and suffering, given a God who is omnipotent and omnibenevolent and omnipresent. Some people, I think, have pointed to this as a great example, a great counter-argument to the argument that Megan Rapinoe thinks she's making. The fact that this woman, who in her public life is quite odious, was not able to play what I hope is her final game of soccer, might not be seen as proof that God does not exist. Some would actually come to quite the opposite conclusion here. But even if one did not,
that's funny.
It bears repeating because one can understand it intellectually, but when you actually do rip your Achilles when you're playing your last game and it's really meaningful to you, you actually will cry out to God very often and be very angry with God. Even faithful people will do that very often. So I have a bit of sympathy for Megan Rapinoe here.
Nah. I mean, well, yeah, if you test it. And to be honest, from my understanding, God don't even get mad when you do that, right? He get it. He understand. I forgot who that was that questioned him, and then they apologized, and God was like, no. That's cool. It's cool. You supposed to. I made you that way. I would question something. I mean, you got to be respectful, right? It's like you're talking to your parent and you're talking to your father. It's okay to ask me something. Don't try to forsake, right? Try to demand. So I had to ask me why, if you don't understand, like with your human level intellect, I don't expect you to understand my type of higher being type of thinking, right? So I don't think the Lord is mad when you like ask or, things like that. But they just blatantly like curse him, I don't know.
But when you think about it intellectually and you remove yourself from the immediate pain of it, you can see it all quite clearly. Suffering is not a proof against God's existence, because suffering has no moral quality in and of itself. It is the reaction to suffering that has a moral quality. And the reaction to suffering can be one that is degrading and is vicious, or the reaction to suffering can be edifying and sanctifying, and you can come out strong. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger would be a shallow way to put it. And that's the case. And why is there sin and death in the world? Because man has free will and abused his free will to rebel against God. And as a consequence of that, sin and death pervade the world. And there are eternal consequences for sin, but there are also temporal effects of sin. So when you commit a sin, you can go and, as it says in the gospel, you can go and confess your sins, and the successors to the apostles can forgive your sins. They can give you absolution. And that takes care of the eternal consequences of sin, but there's still temporal consequences of sin. If you go out and...
I'm not going to be exact on like the exact procedure, right? Depending on what religion you belong to. But yeah, I don't know the exact procedure. I'm not like a specialist or like a priest or anything like that.
Steal a candy bar. And then you go and you say, I'm sorry, I apologize, God forgive me, please. And then you receive absolution from God. Well, the shop owner is still out a candy bar. He's still out a couple of bucks. There's still a temporal effect of that.
That's facts.
And so sin and death pervade the world, beautifully described by John Milton in Paradise Lost. But the happy ending to that is that there's a solution, and there's actually redemption that comes through suffering, and ultimately through the suffering of the perfect victim who's totally innocent. And that's why we say on Easter, oh, happy fault that won for us so great, so glorious a Redeemer. So probably a more in-depth answer than Megan Rapinoe was looking for. But since that is her final game of soccer, I figured it would be a good opportunity to give it to her. Man, what a great clip.
Yeah, that was a good clip. That was a good clip. That was a good clip. As far as roasting the heck out of her foolishness, I will say certain things. I'm not like an expert, so I'm not going to like claim to be one and say I know everything, but it just didn't seem right. Some of the things that she was saying, right? Just the overall, everything she said about the Lord was nasty and disgusting to me, but that's my personal opinion. Tell me what yours is down in the comment section. Hit the like button as well if you would like to. What's going on, guys? If you want to see me live stream, there's two options right now, currently. But now I'm going to be streaming on Twitch. You can go and follow me on there. And I'm also going to be live streaming on Rumble. You can go over and follow me on there. If you want to get access to my live streams and be able to watch the playback, that is the best way. Twitch and Rumble. See you guys later.